Carissa Dez here reporting for Village Portland. Today I spoke with Mingus Mapps, who just won City Council position 4 seat. I spoke with him a little bit about what he sees in Portland's future and some changes that he's hoping to make.
And often, you know, the solutions to problems like that are not the police, but rather it's the community. But sometimes the cops need to be there. There are some situations which I've seen, the human trafficking, violence.
Gun violence.
Gun violence, which is another huge problem. And so I'm a huge fan of community policing, evidence-based policing. You know, obviously we need to do all the kind of common sense, human and, you know, decent racial reforms there. So let's ban chokeholds, let's ban cooperation with ICE. And I'm also, you know, at the table because we have this great opportunity to reinvent independent oversight of our public safety system. I think that's great. I think that's one of the things that the people have clearly demanded if you take a look at our most recent elections. And I'm excited to be at the table with the rest of Portland to figure out how we make this work.
So do you think third-party oversight is the way to go? Are you kind of...
Yeah, yes, indeed I do. I think it's one of the ways that we hold our public safety system accountable. You know, there are lots of different issues there. Everything from, you know, what tools does, you know, independent police review have? Should independent oversight have the power to change police policies? You know, should we have an independent group have the power to discipline police? And how do you go about, you know, protecting records? And, you know, my opinion is, you know, we should have a highly empowered, independent oversight system. I'm not sure if an independent group should have the power to outright change police policies, but they sure should have the power to make recommendations to City Council about what policies should be changed. Should independent groups have the power to discipline police officers? I think that's another dicey thing, but you know, my mind is open to having that conversation, and I'm a big believer in transparency. So you know, I think any records that get produced through the process of auditing and overlook and providing the police with independent oversight should be public record and accessible to anyone who's interested.
Definitely. We spoke a little bit about less funds going to the police, but that's not like, you know, your main focus. But if we're wanting better police training or more police training, how are we going to do that with less money? Are we taking from their other programs and using money toward police training, or?
This is going to be literally about 100 very difficult and very specific choices. You know, you can either sacrifice bodies or you can sacrifice benefits. One of the things we're going to be doing as a council and a community is to think about, you know, which do we sacrifice and how. So I look forward to being at the table as we have these discussions. We've already had some. One of the reasons of I'm being non-specific here is that we still don't know exactly what our budget looks like. Let's just say we were agnostic about cutting the police. We're still going to do it because we know that our budget, we face a deficit next year, but we don't know the size of that deficit. But I think by Thanksgiving, we should have a pretty good sense of where we're at. And that gets us to a sense of where we're talking a $5 million cut, a $10 million cut, you know, $20 million cut. I hope it's not 20, but that's where that comes in. And then, you know, and I do hope that people think about this we're in the middle of the budget cycle right now, and we need to make some cuts just to acknowledge the COVID realities. But after we acknowledge and deal with the COVID realities and rebalance our budget, then, you know, I think we have an opportunity through the rest of the winter and the spring to really do the kind of planning and visioning we want for, you know, our next public safety system, you know, public safety system 2.0, whatever you want to call it.
Great.